Good evening and welcome to Biz RoundUp. I'm Tamiru Nimsat and we at our television bring you a collection of business highlights. Let's have a look at the headlines. Cabinet approves shutdown of 33 loss-making state enterprises. Work remittances surge in August. Official data show. World Bank urges balanced fiscal reforms for Sri Lanka. News in detail. The Cabinet of Ministers has approved a proposal to liquidate 33 non-functional public enterprises in 2 stages under a special liquidation unit. The decision targets state entities that have become financially unstable and incompatible with current market requirements.
The government has identified numerous state enterprises, including statutory bodies, state corporations and state-owned companies that no longer contribute meaningfully to the national economy or public services. These entities have become non-functional due to outdated objectives, incompatibility with modern market demands, financial non-viability, and impractical maintenance costs. The Special Liquidation Unit, established under the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, will oversee the 2-stage liquidation process. The move aims to eliminate unnecessary financial burdens on the government while streamlining public services and strategic economic activities. The decision reflects the administration's commitment to fiscal responsibility and efficient governance by closing enterprises that have outlived their original purpose and no longer serve public or economic interests effectively.
The Cabinet of Ministers also approved the publication of the Appropriation Bill for 2026, marking the first comprehensive budget by the new government formed by the National People's Power. The bill has been cleared by the Attorney General and will be gazetted for parliamentary submission when the legislature reconvenes. The Appropriation Bill outlines the allocation of funds for each ministry and will be tabled in Parliament once the legislative session resumes. Cabinet spokesman Minister Dr. Lanka confirmed the bill's clearance, noting that approval to draft the legislation was initially granted on July 1, 2025. The proposal to publish the bill was made by the President in his capacity as the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development. Following the first reading, the Finance Minister will present the formal budget in detail during the second reading, outlining plans to address any budget deficit. Parliament will then allocate over 3 weeks for debates on each ministry's allocations, during which lawmakers from both government and opposition will have the opportunity to propose amendments to the budget proposals. This process represents a crucial step in the new administration's economic planning and fiscal management strategy. Sri Lanka received $680.8 million in work remittances during August 2025, marking a strong 17.9% increase compared to the same month last year. The sustained growth in remittances continues to bolster the country's external sector and strengthen the overall economy.
The central bank data shows remittances reached $680.8 million in August, up from $577.5 million in August 2024. Although slightly lower than July's record $693.3 million, the 8-month cumulative total for 2025 shows a robust 19.3% year-on-year increase, with total remittances reaching $5,116 million compared to $4,288.2 million during the same period last year. This growth is attributed to the currency flotation in March 2022, which saw the rupee move from a fixed rate of 198 to 203 rupees per dollar to market valuation, depreciating to over 360 rupees per dollar. The subsequent depreciation made formal banking channels more attractive than informal money changers. Additionally, the authorities cracked down on informal money changers who had been offering high premiums, while a record number of Sri Lankans who left the country during the economic crisis began sending earnings back home. At the current growth pace, Sri Lanka is projected to achieve its highest annual remittance income in history during 2025, potentially surpassing the previous record of $7.1 billion set in 2020.
Sri Lanka repaid $952 million to foreign creditors in the second quarter of 2025, according to official data. By 2028, repayments on international sovereign bonds are projected to climb to $544 million, up from $330 million in both 2026 and 2027.
In the second quarter, Sri Lanka also repaid the first international sovereign bond of 330 million US dollars, made up of an amortizing bond issued to cover restructured interest arrears of the defaulted bonds. Outstanding sovereign bonds have come down to $10,255 million by the end of June this year. Analysts have warned that the Treasury seems to depend on the central bank to generate dollars to repay debt, which it will not be able to do if its policy rates are too low and it does not conduct sufficient deflationary policy. In the first half of 2025, the central bank had provided around $770 million to the government to repay debt in addition to repaying its own debt. Monetary stability allows domestically raised rupees either from taxes or treasury bills to be converted to dollars to repay debt. Analysts have warned that it is up to Sri Lanka's parliament to bring laws to provide sound money so that democracy is not usurped by macroeconomic policy filtering from the US or other Western universities or the International Monetary Fund.
Stay tuned. We will return after this short commercial break. Welcome back after the break. The World Bank has approved a $100 million US project to strengthen rural livelihoods and build climate resilience in Sri Lanka's agri-food sector. The initiative aims to benefit over 380,000 people across the country while creating new job opportunities for youth and women.
The Integrated Urban Development and Climate Resilience Project will directly support 8,000 agri-food producers and improve irrigation and drainage services on 71,000 hectares of land. The project focuses on helping smallholder farmers who produce 80% of Sri Lanka's food adopt modern, climate-smart agricultural practices to increase harvests and reduce losses. It will upgrade irrigation systems to help farmers manage water more effectively, aimed at unpredictable rainfall patterns and extreme weather events. The initiative also aims to generate new rural jobs by strengthening agribusiness value chains and expanding market access with a target of attracting $17 million in private investment. The project will enhance agriculture data systems, improve food safety standards, and expand access to crop insurance while investing in climate-resilient infrastructure. Treasury Secretary Dr. Harshana Surya Perima stated that the project complements the government's vision of achieving sustainable economic growth through enhanced agricultural productivity and rural development. World Bank Division Director David Sislin emphasized that the project combines climate-smart farming with market access and private finance to help farmers succeed despite climate challenges.
A new World Bank review states Sri Lanka has achieved remarkable economic stabilization but now needs to move toward a more balanced fiscal approach. The report recommends growth-friendly reforms to ensure public finances work better for all citizens. The World Bank's Sri Lanka Public Finance Review acknowledges the country's successful fiscal adjustment equal to nearly 8% of GDP over 3 years, which ranks among the sharpest globally. However, the report emphasizes that Sri Lanka can now transition toward a more balanced fiscal policy that supports both growth and equity. The review suggests raising revenues by up to 2% of GDP by 2029 through fairer taxation systems, including a shift toward direct taxes such as minimum corporate income tax and digitized tax administration. It also recommends smarter spending within existing budgets by improving public sector wage management, reprioritizing capital investments to close infrastructure gaps, and enhancing social protection through better targeted assistance. World Bank Division Director David Sislin stated that Sri Lanka should focus on getting better results from every rupee collected and spent, ensuring public spending is both efficient and fair, particularly for the most vulnerable populations. The comprehensive review, prepared in collaboration with the Ministry of Finance, provides a roadmap for long-term fiscal resilience through strengthened planning, budgeting links, and measurable performance outcomes. Sri Lanka and Italy have successfully concluded their inaugural political consultations in Colombo establishing a new structured dialogue mechanism between the two nations. The talks were co-chaired by Deputy Foreign Minister Arun Hemachandra and Italy's Deputy Minister for Foreign Affairs Maria Tripodi.
During the high-level meetings, both countries identified multiple avenues for enhanced cooperation in workforce mobility, trade, investment, tourism, defense, energy and education. The Italian Deputy Minister called on Prime Minister Harini Amarasuriya and Foreign Minister Vijitha Herath for productive discussions. Both parties agreed to prioritize the early conclusion of several bilateral instruments, particularly the Memorandum of Understanding on Migration and Mobility Partnership and renewal of the Agreement on Mutual Recognition of Driving Licenses. Deputy Minister Tripodi appreciated the contribution of Sri Lanka's migrant workforce in Italy, which represents the 12th largest non-EU migrant labour force in the country. This visit marks the first high-level diplomatic engagement from Italy to Sri Lanka since 2016, signalling renewed commitment to strengthening bilateral relations between the two nations. Italy remains Sri Lanka's fifth largest export market and a significant source for investment and tourism.
Stay tuned. We will return after this short commercial break. Welcome back after the break. United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights Volker Turk has presented his comprehensive report on the human rights situation in Sri Lanka to the Human Rights Council in Geneva. The report contains significant allegations regarding the country's human rights record and proposes specific international actions and monitoring mechanisms.
The report presented by High Commissioner Volker Turk outlines detailed concerns about human rights developments in Sri Lanka and recommends enhanced international scrutiny interventions. The document addresses various allegations spanning civil liberties, governance issues and accountability processes. This presentation marks a crucial moment in the ongoing dialogue between Sri Lanka and the UN human rights mechanisms, setting the stage for what is expected to be a robust interactive dialogue session where member states will respond to the findings and recommendations contained in the report.
International engagement through my office, through this council and the human rights mechanisms can play an important part in the change Sri Lanka so desperately needs. My office stands ready to assist Sri Lanka on this journey. One example of our work, mandated by the Council, is the Sri Lanka Accountability Project, through which we have built a secure repository of over 105,000 items of evidence, a critical resource for legal processes, justice and truth-seeking. I call on all member states to support this work. I also call on them to cooperate in investigating and prosecuting alleged perpetrators of international crimes committed in Sri Lanka under principles of universal jurisdiction and to explore further sanctions against people credibly accused of gross violations of human rights.
Foreign Minister Vijitha Herath addressed the United Nations Human Rights Council following the report from the High Commissioner outlining Sri Lanka's significant progress on human rights reforms and development initiatives. The minister detailed the government's comprehensive anti-corruption drive while thanking the international community for their continued support.
Sri Lanka has continued to engage constructively with this Council, OSCHR, as well as with the regular human rights mechanisms. Mr. President, developments within less than a year clearly demonstrate our genuine commitment and determination to protect and promote the rights and well-being of all Sri Lankans through our domestic processes. Therefore, the government is opposed to any external mechanism imposed on us, such as the Sri Lanka Accountability Project, which serves to create divisions and complicate the national reconciliation process underway in Sri Lanka. We are committed to working towards a country that respects and celebrates the diversity of its people in line with our domestic legal framework. The government will continue to work in close cooperation with the international community through capacity building and technical assistance in mutually agreed areas to further strengthen these efforts. We urge this Council to take note of the progress made within a short period. We seek your continued support to provide us the time and space that is required to make use of this historic opportunity to advance the rights and well-being of Sri Lankans through national processes. Thank you.
India has extended a grant of 600 million rupees for the construction of a new accident and emergency unit at the District General Hospital in Mana. A memorandum of understanding for the project was signed in Colombo recently between Indian High Commissioner Santosh Jha and Health Ministry Secretary Dr. Anil Jasingh.
The initiative includes the construction of a two-story emergency unit and the procurement of modern medical equipment to address critical healthcare gaps in the Mana district. Health and Mass Media Minister Nalinda Jayatissa witnessed the signing ceremony, highlighting the project's significance in enabling timely medical intervention during the golden hour and easing pressure on the hospital's existing bed capacity. This project adds to India's growing portfolio of health sector cooperation in Sri Lanka, which includes the Suvasarya ambulance service, support for hospitals in Jaffna, Kilinochchi, Mullaitivu and Batticaloa, and the 150-bed multi-speciality hospital at Dikkoya. The new emergency unit is expected to significantly enhance emergency healthcare services in the region, particularly for trauma and critical care patients, while strengthening the overall healthcare infrastructure in Sri Lanka's northern province.
With that, we wind up for today. For this and more, subscribe to our channel on YouTube and follow us on Facebook. See you tomorrow with State of Business at 7:45 p.m. Take care and good night.